Broadcasting from around the stars, this is Fatherhood News Update. Our top stories tonight. Interview with Erasmus Wulvedon. Business report from BD Plus 69238. And the protest of LHS 1848 Blue Ring. We start today's broadcast with the continuing domination of the GD69 League in several star systems and its charismatic leader Erasmus Wulvedon at its helm. The Fatherhood News managed to get an exclusive interview with what some factions call the Weeping Mother. Our reporter Eliza Turner brings us this report.
Our invite to the star system of GD69 was under strict conditions. We were to take a single Diamondback Explorer to Nikolaev stop. My crew and I were then transported in business class cabins on a Dolphin to meet Erasmus. The navigation console was obscured from view to us and we made a number of jumps flanked by 3 federal gunships. We landed next to a corvette and were transported on board. It was only then that we were allowed to start our filming. Erasmus entered the room after a security sweep of our equipment by her personal guards, that stopped short of disassembling our cameras. I asked why so much security had been taken for this interview.
Well, my security forces are overprotective of me. They are always warning me of a potential assassination plot, but I guess these are the things that the head of a faction must suffer through.
Do you not fear an assassination attempt? A number of factions are not happy and very fearful of you.
I trust in the stars and the fate they have for me. I don't fear death. When it's time for me to go, then I will go and fade into the black. That is the fate of all of us.
Forgive me, but your predecessor, Mr. Puhipi, and his family all died in an assassination plot. I was just wondering, how do you feel about that? Was it his time to go?
Our crash investigators reviewed Mr. Puhipi's ship and determined it was a simple nav malfunction into Zephyrus's star. Saying that he and his family were assassinated sullies his reputation and the love we all had for him.
That's the official version, but some believe that you ordered the assassination, given the way you came to power.
I am sorry, but what do you mean by the way I came to power? Mr. Puhipi and I stood side by side when he announced me as the new leader. These false accusations are simply not true. He was a mentor to me and the father of our faction.
But you both differed on the future of the GD69 League. He wanted to embrace democracy, and as we know, you're an advocate of confederacy.
Yes, but in politics you have to stand for what you believe in. Look, ultimately the GD69 League will flourish. We are making significant gains in the 3 star systems that we are in, and if you check our state, the people are reporting they are all happy. Surely that's the first job of a leader?
What about the accusation that you forced Mr. Puhipi to step down by threatening his family and his resignation was forced out of him? It was then that all the cameras were switched off and the press officer told us we cannot spread these lies about the Weeping Mother, but to our surprise Erasmus told her people to step aside and ordered the cameras to be put back on. Are you happy to continue?
I am sorry about that. Like I said, my team likes to protect me at every turn. Please repeat the question.
Do you have anything to say regarding the accusations that you forced Mr. Puhipi to step down by threatening his family?
I saw your episode where you had a so-called member of the security detail that was in the room, and this is why I accepted this interview. Mr. Puhipi was a very powerful man, but his time was coming to an end. We did meet where he confessed to me that he wished to end his term early and if I would shoulder the responsibility of the hundreds of millions of our citizens, and as a daughter of this faction, I could not say no when my faction needs me. So no, I did not force anyone to do anything, and I miss him every day.
It is fair to say that the thoughts of democracy is firmly dead within your faction. Following the scenes at the conference, do you have any regret on how this clash of ideals ultimately ended?
It was a hard choice that I felt I had to make for the good of the GD69 League. Many of them were friends of mine. but I will not shy from making the hard choices that will give my faction the best chance to expand.
Do you feel it was fair to have elder statesmen combat against each other to the death with no life support? Was that not too barbaric?
No, it was not. I gave them a chance to win and earn their freedom, to continue their lives. Would executing them on the spot had been more humane for the Fatherhood?
Do you feel judged by the Fatherhood?
The Fatherhood have oppressed us in our home system, while others like LHS 1681 Confederacy look to expand. We must fight for every inch of influence in the star systems we are in, while the Fatherhood dominate and keep not only my faction but others like me that dare to speak out against them. This is what the true face of democracy is like.
Since you came to power, your faction has been at war over and over again. Why have you not chose the path of elections to gain control and territory?
We are a warrior faction. We are all in a dangerous space, and some may say words are just as powerful, but when no one can hear your voice, a faction only has one choice: to be heard.
What are the plans for the future for the GD69 League?
We will continue to grow, and we hope to expand to bring more like-minded people to our family from across the stars.
It was an amicable end to the interview and we were escorted back to Nikolaev's stop. The Fatherhood News would like to add that it stands by its reporting in the Fatherhood News Weekend Edition Episode 10. We check the facts and check them again before we bring them to you on air. This interview was her interpretation of the truth, and I speak for me and the team when I say that nothing that was said here was the truth, just a well-coordinated publicity stunt that was not based on fact. I have been Eliza Turner, proudly, for the Fatherhood News.
BD plus 69,238 posse have been forced to report a bus state, and the Fatherhood have officially stated that they are dealing with a civil unrest from the faction. However, all is not what it seems. Our reporter Henry Kai brings us this special report from the planetary base of Rubrook Enterprise and the plight of the posse.
The BD plus 69,238 posse were the protection arm of the ruling class of the star system, simply known as the monarchy. The Fatherhood needed the support of the monarchy with their control of hydrogen fuel, bio-waste, and limpets in the star system to ensure efficient operations for replant and reduce import costs of these basic materials. In exchange for this, the Fatherhood regularly pay a 10% subsidy to the monarchy. Once the Brewers corporations announced the fleet carriers, the posse purchased a number of carriers to support security activities within the star system. In a deal with the monarchy purchased these carriers for the posse, utilizing their royal seal to gain an undisclosed discount for the posse. After several cycles with the mismanagement of modules and debts increasing, the Brewer Corporation repossessed all carriers. A fleet of corvettes were sent along with the repossession teams, ensuring no conflict from the posse would occur. However, when it came time to refund the cost, less the repossession charge, the funds were transferred to the monarchy, with the Brewer Corporation stating that the carriers were registered to the monarchy and not the posse, despite the posse being the faction that were making the payments. This left the posse unable to fulfill long-haulage contracts, and forced them to be put in a bust state. When appeals to the monarchy was made to transfer the credits, the monarchy simply said they will review this in the coming year's budget meeting in January. In retaliation for this, the posse withdrew protection support, and are now conducting black market activities against the monarchy. To counteract this, a new protection deal was announced by Duke Otis Walker with the Silver Vision Solutions after failed talks with the Fatherhood. Yet this deal was soon going to face difficulties. When leaked data transmissions showed Silver Vision Solutions will not commit their full force to the protection of the monarchy, the posse took advantage of this and increased their black market operations to include the Silver Vision Solutions. This has seen their influence drop 7 percentage points. After appeals to the Fatherhood by the monarchy to put a stop to these activities, the Fatherhood said they will not involve themselves in this conflict. However, it seems to us that this could be resolved easily with a simple credit transfer. This situation has made BD plus 69,238 a haven for black market traders, but the posse say they are hoping to end their black market operations soon. I have been Henry Kai for the Fatherhood News.
our final story tonight. On the 2nd of November 3306, the Fatherhood News Podcast broke the story of the LHS 1848 Blue Ring protest against the aristocrats of LHS 1848 that has seen the Fatherhood Abakirov installation, Gagarin Dock and Bachigalupi survey reporting several issues. This all started when unarmed sidewinders of the Blue Ring landed on these outposts and refused to enter the hangar and activated silent running. After appeals with these commanders, the Fatherhood outpost controls did manage to open one bay for emergency landings. The Fatherhood Laura Ross joins us now from Gagarin Dock with the latest. Hello Laura, so what is the current situation?
Hi Jim, the situation is still at a stalemate with supporters bringing emergency food cartridges to these commanders who have been sitting here for 6 days now.
And what are the demands of the protesters? Do we have this information?
Yes Jim, we do. In a manifesto issued by the leader of this protest, they want the aristocrats to stop their illegal black market that is operating in their financial quarters. They are not paying any taxes to them and undercutting their legal suppliers. And as you can see from the footage our drone shows, these protesters have placed signs on the emergency hatch protesting against the aristocrats.
What have the Fatherhood said about this ongoing situation?
We have had a couple of statements. The first was in response to the aristocrats' request to have the protesters destroyed due to their dock rule violations. However, the loophole in the interstellar rule does say once a ship has landed on a dock, it owns that dock until it leaves, and it does not require a commander to enter the hangar. This, and in combination of the risk to the dock from the outpost weapons system, that option was ruled out very early on in this protest.
Very interesting. The Fatherhood have been lobbied by special interest groups, we understand, and we bring you the Fatherhood response to that.
First, I would like to state that the situation on Gagarin Dock is an internal matter between LHS 1848 Blue Ring and the aristocrats of LHS 1848. The Fatherhood and the workers of Gagarin Dock are not involved in this, and we urge all demonstrators to allow us to continue with the vital work of this dock. This does not mean that the Fatherhood will shy from these situations and bury our head in the sand. We have spoken to the aristocrats and have made it clear that this branch of financial terrorism is not acceptable, and must stop with immediate effect. This does not mean that Blue Ring will recover soon, but we feel that if they are given a chance they could contribute to this star system in time.
Do you know how did the protesters react to this statement?
We spoke to one of them and they have said they will continue to protest until they see real change.
Thank you Laura Ross, you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you Jim.
That is all from me and the Fatherhood News team. Please remember to subscribe and follow us. I've been Jim Cooper, and remember, don't dream of the stars, fly amongst them. Thank you and good night.